Welcome to Community with Closers. I'm your host, Pat Clark, and this is where closers are born. Get ready for high-energy stories, game-changing strategies, and the relentless pursuit of success. In each episode, we dissect the art of sealing the deal, celebrate triumphs, and explore the grit that defines salesmanship. This is the ultimate podcast for sales warriors ready to conquer the business battlefield. What's going on, guys? Pat Clark here with another Community with Closers. Excited to be here tonight. We have an amazing guest. I've known him for years. We go way back. You guys are going to know exactly who he is. But we got a lot of cool things going on. We are appreciative that you guys are stopping in today, checking it out. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Mr. Doug Rucker in the house tonight. What is up, man?
Hey, Patrick, how are you, buddy?
I am doing well, dude. It's been a journey, that's for sure, man. We've been doing this for a minute, huh?
Yes, we have a few minutes, as a matter of fact.
I know it. I
think I first met you in 2010 or 11.
Yeah, I think it was 11. Yep.
At a National Cleaning Expo event in Tampa, I think it was.
Yep.
And that's then right. Shortly after that, at a soft wash convention or something, one of AC's training things.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Exactly. It goes way back. And it's been cool because like that drove, your events coming out to Houston, doing the Difference Makers Conference that you put on, which is fantastic. That was such a joy, man. I know I came in the last time. It was quick. I just flew in for a day and then I was out. But, man, your events are pretty amazing, dude.
Yeah, I enjoy them very much. We're continuing to do the Difference Makers conferences, Jeffrey Blackman and myself. And as a matter of fact, we have one coming up with our June training event that we're doing in Atlanta, Georgia. So, and the Difference Makers kind of concentrates more on the business end, not necessarily the cleaning end of it. But I remember that you and Ray Burke both came in, and that was awesome. We had a great time, and it's fun. The fun thing to watch, Pat, I know you know this as well, is looking back and seeing some of the guys that attended, and then you see how well they're doing. Yeah. And it feels good, not from the standpoint that you say to yourself, wow, I did that or I made that. It's that they took the education and they went out and put it to action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you and I can't make anybody successful. We can only help them and help guide them and help mentor them and that type of thing. They got to get out there and get after it. And it's just cool to see the guys that do that and become successful. Yeah.
It's amazing though. Like I don't know. It blows my mind sometimes though, because you'll have like the 1%ers, right, in those events, and like doing sales boosts for years now. You see, you know what I mean? That I don't know, a little bit more than half the room that will actually do it, and there's a percentage that just won't, right? And you teach them, you pour in, you do the same thing, and it's all at the end of the day, it's up to them to take action. It's like I always say, it's the speed of implementation.
Correct.
How quickly can you take that info and put it into practice?
Correct. And it's like the sign I've got right up here above the big monitor I use for my classes. It says education without action is just entertainment, So if you and I tell the guys, you can come here and get all the education that we can give you, but unless you go out and put it to action, you've just paid some good money to come here and be entertained, basically.
Exactly.
And in some cases, pretty boring entertainment.
Yeah, if you're not going to execute on and put it in, I can see that.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the next thing is like community with closers. Like we're talking to a bunch of closers tonight. So we want to jump into your story. So if we can kick it off, kind of like tell me the beginning, roots and stuff, like how you got into the industry, what that looks like, and what you're doing now, how that kind of transpired. And then we're going to jump into some meat and potatoes.
Okay. 1979, I was a junior in high school in Clearwater, Florida. And my dad took me down to a place called Master Clean, where one of the deacons and his wife of our church owned a pressure washing pressure cleaning business. It was called Master Clean, and they sold equipment. They sold little pressure washers, guns, wands, that type of thing. And so I got a part-time job there because we were on split sessions, and I would go in when I wasn't in school and help the boss build the pressure washers. I would clean the warehouse floors, clean the bathrooms, whatever they told me to do. I just did it.
Mm-hmm.
They would let me go out on weekends and we'd clean Florida Power and GTE power trucks. Brush method. I was always on
Wow.
had the brush. I wasn't the rinser. Everybody wanted to be the rinser. That was the
That's
easy
hard
part.
work. That's
Yes.
hard work right there.
So they let me do that. We'd actually cleaned a couple of parking garages, small parking garages at night as well. And as a matter of fact, that's where I learned the proper way to seat the nozzle in the 1/4 inch, because he bought a brand new Oldsmobile Delta 98. Bob Willicke was his name. And he told me to get the pressure washer and go out there and wash the car. I did. I didn't put the little white nozzle in all the way, pulled the trigger, bam, hit the side door. And yep, put a nice little ding in it. And he came out, and I went and got him and told him what I did. And he came out, looked at it, put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Doug, that's not your fault. That is my fault, because I didn't properly train you on how to seat the nozzle. But let me show you how and why this happened." So he did.
Wow.
So I did that during high school. And then, quite a few years later, I went to work with a painting company there in Clearwater, and we did some of the pressure washing and painting for the big, it was the Thunderdome then. It's where the Devil Rays play baseball.
Mm.
We did the painting of the big rings.
Oh,
And
nice.
then other jobs I had with them was I'd go around and pressure wash and prep the houses when they were going to paint them. This would be HOA neighborhood work and things like that.
Nice.
And so then about 1995, my wife and I, we were engaged at the time, but we borrowed some money from a bank and we bought a little pressure washing business from a man in our church that had a van and 2 little pressure washers, and went out and started cleaning houses and cleaning tile roofs and all of that. So from a business standpoint, that's kind of when it started, was about 1995 area.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, so did that. And then later we moved to Houston. Had no clue what I was going to do here. So I'd shut down everything in Clearwater and moved out here and was driving around looking for houses and noticed that it was nothing but algae and mildew on roofs and houses and concrete. So started up a little business here, and then came across the bulletin boards. Remember the old forums?
Oh, man.
Pressure Washing Institute and Grime Scene, Power Washing,
RCIA.
RCIA, all of those. Yeah. And so I would see guys on Pressure Washing Institute and some of the others. They would ask simple questions, and of course they'd get beat up and say, "Don't ask a stupid question like that. Use the search function," and blah blah blah. So I would send them what was called a private message on the forum, say, "Hey, I can help you. Give me a call." So they would, and I would spend probably 2 to 3 hours a night just answering questions from guys when they would call me. And my wife said, "You really should start a school and charge people and teach them how to start a business and how to pressure wash and that type of thing." And I said, "Well, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. Nobody's gonna pay money to go to a school." And so I was talking to one of my mentors at the time, Ron Musgraves, and told him about it. And he said, "You really should do that. You'd be good at that." So I went back to my wife and said, "Hey, I've come up with a pretty genius idea. I think I'm going to start a school." So we started the first one in, I think it was March of 2011, and have been doing that every month since then. And my passion is really, I just fell in love with helping new guys and teaching them how to clean properly, how to clean safely, how to protect property, all of that kind of things. We don't get much into the sales end or marketing because I just don't have time in the training. I'm more about teaching the equipment, how to use the equipment, how to clean, and things of that nature. So
Got it.
it was about a year after that I started the online video school. I think that was 2012. And so that's been going for that many years too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've heard nothing but amazing things for the online course, man. It's got a bunch of content in there for sure.
Yeah, it's got a lot of content, 10 years worth of content. And as a matter of fact, I'm fixing to redo the main modules, the main portions: house wash, roof cleaning, property protection, and concrete cleaning.
Nice.
But they have the ability to take quizzes or tests after each one of those. So it's a very very cool thing that I've had for quite a few years.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. Well, with that being said, we want to jump into the meat and potatoes. So obviously we got a bunch of guys on here now. We got 15 hopping in. We got Dean in the house. And then we got Jared. And so I want to ask you a couple questions on sales, because I know obviously you had the cleaning company, you got the store now. So, you know, you've been doing this a long time. You know about sales. So, you know, in your journey with sales and selling the cleaning and stuff, what's the number one things that, you know, business owners, salespeople, they overlook in the sales process?
I think the biggest thing that I see and experience from not only business owners, but from pretty much a lot of different facets of life, but especially in sales, is not listening. Not shutting up and listening to the customer and let them talk.
Yeah.
I see too many times, a customer will be talking and they'll get interrupted by the salesperson because the salesperson's trying to, you know, get their point across. And I think sometimes it's like they feel like they want the customer to know that they already know what they're going to ask and they already have the answer to it. And they think that's going to impress them. And it doesn't. It really, I don't want to use the word offend, but they just don't like that. You're interrupting someone when they're speaking. It tells them you're not truly really listening.
Yes. Yeah, definitely hinders like their thought process. And then now they're thinking like, what, you know, I can't get my reasoning out. I want to let you know what's going on in my home. I see that a lot, is like, and I think it stems too, like what you're saying is they want to get their point across, or they want to become knowledgeable. Sometimes I see too where salespeople aren't confident in their number, right? Like that they're about to give, and they're scared. You know what I mean? So they will talk. You know, when people are scared, they're going to over talk.
Yeah, you'll see a guy give a price, and I was guilty of it myself early on. You're looking at $550 because we've got and they start explaining why the price is that high. And it'll amaze you that if you just give the price and then shut up, don't say a word, the next person that talks generally loses. Okay. And so a lot of times when you give that price, you're looking at $550, the customer 80% of the time is going to say, okay, when can you get it scheduled?
Yeah.
But instead they start talking and keep talking and keep talking. And then it raises more questions into the customer's mind.
Yes.
And now you've got questions that you probably didn't have to answer. So give the price and then.
Yes. That silence is like, you gotta embrace the awkwardness.
Correct.
And it will be fine. Like it's going to be okay.
Yeah, exactly. And just have the confidence in your price. And I often, you know, oftentimes a customer will go, well, that's kind of high. Well, I learned an old Zig Ziglar trick many years ago. Throw it back in the form of a question. The price is too high. So now you have them responding and letting you know why the price is too high, because too often when they say the price is too high, then again, you want to start explaining why your price is too high. find out why they think it's too high first.
Yes.
Before you start justifying the high price, find out why they think it's too high. Maybe a guy did it for 75% of that price last time. Well, why aren't we using him? Why aren't we calling him? You know,
Gold. Yeah, because they can't get a hold of that guy, or he's not answering the phone.
he's not answering, or they'll tell you front out he's out of business. And so, well, there may be a reason he didn't know how to price, or, whatever. But
yep. And this is guys when they're out of business or they can't get a hold of them or the phone doesn't work, right? It's still, they have their phone number. Guess what you need to do? Purchase the phone number.
yes. Yeah.
Like people they don't realize that. Purchase the phone number, purchase the website. You can go on and you can literally pay a couple bucks and then have that number forward to you.
Right.
So there's little things, you know what I mean? Being in business for so long, we see people come and go. And so this is stuff that we have adopted in there is like, go ahead and buy the number.
Right.
So with sales, right? So you have, everybody has a system, and I think it's in their head. And so like when you were really getting your sales system down and like out of your head, what were some of the steps that you took maybe in your company or whatever that helped you with the process of sales? I know you got Zig Ziglar and stuff like that, scripts. I know we put a lot of scripts in place to overcome objections.
The biggest thing was being detailed about the services that we're providing and making sure that we're explaining those both verbally and also in writing. But to me, a lot about sales, especially from the standpoint of what we do, is educating the customer, not necessarily trying to be that high pressure salesperson, but educating the customer on why we use the cleaning solutions that we do, why we use the mixing systems that we do, so that we can dial in our mix and not over, flood surfaces or over mix surfaces, things like that.
I love that. Okay. So in a competitive market, how can businesses differentiate themselves and win more sales?
Well, two things. One, and I kind of got this from my wife years ago, from her ministry job she had at the church. It's all about the experience that you're providing to that customer. From the moment you answer the phone to the moment you arrive on time. And a little hint, if you're doing high-end residential quotes, don't arrive 10 minutes early. Don't arrive 5 minutes late. Arrive, if the appointment's at 9 o'clock, arrive at 9 o'clock. Because that person probably most often works from their home, and they may be on a Zoom call until 8:59.
Yeah.
Okay. I learned that from doing high-end residential sales. They really like it when you show up right on, walk up and tap that door. So to me, it's a lot about the experience, the overall experience, and the emotions that you're bringing out of that customer, making them feel happy, making them understand exactly what all you're doing, why you're doing it, how you do it, where you start, where you end, all of that type of thing.
So good. So good. And it's the little things, you know what I mean? Like you're saying, don't arrive too early because then you're interrupting their meeting or whatever they got going on. So what we would do is we would drive around the neighborhood and we would scope out other houses. We would be in the area about 30 minutes early. That way we can, replicate our efforts, do some marketing, yard signs, look at different homes, whatever it may be. But yeah, showing up, that's huge, huge nugget there.
We would do that. And we would also, back then direct mail marketing wasn't so big, but at the early stages of that, we would actually get the street names, and then we'd find the beginning mailbox number and figure out the end, so we could go on to property appraisers and pull up those addresses. Because back then we did the postcards by ourselves, ourselves, and then labeled them, put stamps on them, mailed them out. Now you can get all that stuff, digitally rather quickly. But, and the other thing I think, you used the word in the competitive market. I always teach guys, and it's something I heard not, just a few years ago, that if you'll worry less about your competition, don't
Yes.
say don't worry about them, but worry less about what the competition is doing. Worry less about where they're putting yard signs, why they're putting yard signs, or the $99 guy, or this and that,
Hmm.
and worry more about you and the experience that you're providing to your customer. If that experience to that customer is up there, I mean, then they're going to love you, and they're always going to use you, and they're always going to refer you.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I mean, you know this from high end. I think back then, dude, you had the $8,000 house wash. That was like the class, right? And from when people spend more money with you, they're more loyal. Would you agree with
Correct.
that?
Correct. Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
it's crazy because back when I first started my company, I was like the nice guy. You know what I mean? They're oh, you're on Social Security, no problem. We'll do payments. You know what I mean? And I always say it doesn't say .org at the end of our website. And
Right.
so you learn, right? You learn like, okay, I'm actually not making any money. My wife's like, you got to up your prices. And so we talked a little bit about that. We'll follow up in a minute about, what to charge, how to charge, why we're charging what we charge. But, when you go through those things and you start charging more and you start, bidding more things and you're packaging them to, save the customer money because the experience is here because we're going to do everything. It's a different feel. And those people are more apt to write a review, spend more money with you later on.
Absolutely. It's the loyalty thing is huge because, and not missing anything. And then also find those little things that you can fix, that you can take care of while you're there. Be a problem solver for your customer. Remember, we're in the service business. What's the first part of that word?
That's right. Serve.
Serve. So serve your customer. Find those little things. Push that trash can back to the garage area after it's been emptied. If you were there on trash day, if the yard guys come through and they're going to cut the grass, move your hoses real quick. They're going to be there about 5-10 minutes. Take a break. Let the yard get cut. That type of thing. But we fixed fallen gutters before. We've had nail spikes and just go up and spike them, nail them back in for them. Mailboxes that have been bent over, re-support them for them, whatever. Just little things that set you apart and make that experience that the customer will never forget.
I love that. And that's what we preach, right? To your team. And that's kind of the company culture that you're breeding through and through. And that's going to shine, right? I always say, when you make more money, your heart really just explodes because that's what you're doing, right? You have more money to do charity, work in the community and getting the team involved. And like you said, you worry less about the competition because they're not doing what you're doing.
Correct.
And then competition is not really there. I mean, you got to keep an eye on them and stuff. And you got rising companies and, we have the digital age now. So people can go on and they can, really blow up quickly. Back in the day, 20 years ago, we're putting postcards together. We're putting the labels on.
Right,
we're, licking the stamps,
Right.
We were doing it all. And that's pretty much, like all that blood, sweat, and tears. But so what I'm saying is, with all these things, focus on the little things. And I know you did an amazing job doing that. You still do that with your store and with everything. But competition is a lot less when you start doing that.
And you got to remind people that we didn't have this advantage, years ago, you and I, Pat, but those little things that you do for the customers, that customer can walk inside their home and instantly contact everybody in that neighborhood through their Facebook or their next door or whatever neighborhood group.
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't take long to get the word out about you if you're providing that experience that the customer is going to absolutely love. That's exactly right. Make raving fans. Facebook user. Hey, Facebook user, how are you?
I know. It's like you got to let the StreamYard accept your thing so your name pops up. Strange.
Right. Right.
But yeah. But no, that's exactly right. Is like keep going, keep doing the hard things. So what sales strategy have you found to be most effective for growing your businesses? Current or, previously?
Sales strategy.
Yeah.
Just as far as a strat, well, I don't know if it's a strategy, but the technique, it's just really being educating the customer. Again, we talked about it before.
Yep.
I'm more of an educator, not necessarily a salesperson. I'll ask for the sale. I'm not a high pressure salesperson. As a matter of fact, in the store here, we have people come through all the time and they want to spend tons of money
Yeah.
for a rig. I'm going to go out and start a business. Okay. How much business do you have built up? None yet, but I know once I get the rig, I can go, because it's just, okay, well, let's back up a little bit. Have you ever pressure washed before? No. Okay. Well, that's the first thing you need to do. Let's learn how to pressure wash. Here's the information on my school. So it's really trying to be educating and not selling customers, whether it's a residential customer or a commercial customer or a customer in the store, not trying to sell them stuff they don't necessarily need. But I was just always a big educator, and I was always big on showing up on time and returning every single phone call and answering my phone myself.
Got it.
Okay. I went through a couple of years, trial periods with answering services, but for me in the service business, I just like, we've even talked about having answering service here at the store, but I just can't do it. I'd rather just answer the phone myself. My wife generally answers it. If I'm available, I'll get on the phone. If not, she takes messages, but I try to call every single customer back that day if I can.
I love that.
My biggest sales strategy is just trying to provide exceptional service.
Yeah.
Am I perfect? No, I fail sometimes,
We all do. That's why we say we're human, right? But it's how you take care of it as a company.
Correct.
Like my team is going to fail. We're not perfect, right? But it's how you take care of it that really matters.
Right.
So how can businesses effectively nurture and maintain long-term customer relationships?
Stay in contact with them.
Yes.
You've got to stay in contact with them. You've got to stop by. We used the company cam towards the end when I was doing residential. Most don't know I sold my residential business at the end of 2021, but company cam was pretty huge. Being able to be in a neighborhood and just pull that app up and it'll show you nearby projects that you've done. So stop in, knock on the door, say hello, a phone call, birthday cards, anniversary cards, staying in touch with them through Facebook. We have a lot of customers that, we would be friends on Facebook, but it's just like any other relationship. You got to nurture it and you got to build it. So you got to stay in contact with them.
Yeah. I always say build it to the model, right? Build a system so you can create, a marketing calendar that you have multiple touches per year. And so we would say 4 touches minimum, because some clients, they don't like too many, right? So you don't want to like pester them, but if they sign up for the newsletter, great, right? That's monthly. And then we have quarterly things that would go out, and it might be an update, like a postcard to your, reoccurring customer list that'll have like new employee of the month or, whatever it is.
Correct.
And, putting that stuff out there. And so you remember my big wall map on there that I have in the office. And so we would build that out and I would get the team's ideas. Like we did National Donut Day. You know what I mean? Like just weird things that you can stay in contact with your customers, because that's a free lead basically. You know what I mean? Like that reoccurring customers, I think we had, I forget the exact number, but we would have like 8 come back almost once a week, 8 repeat clients once a week that were coming back. It was crazy. We got up to like 35% or 40% of repeat customers every year, which, that's hard to do. They're like 2-3 years, whatever it is. But, we have clients that have been with us for so long because they got the car, they got the family picture, they got the Christmas card, like you're saying. So I love that.
We did, one of the things we would do too with our MailChimp campaigns, we would send them probably about once a quarter. But the headline or the main top feature would never be about anything pressure washing related.
Mm.
It would be something like my favorite cake recipe.
Yes.
Then down below, we would have some pressure washing, information get scheduled, but it never always started off with, hey, our roof cleaning special this month is 10% off any roof cleaning when we do your house or whatever. It would always start off with something that wasn't related. It was some type of information. Hurricane season, it may be hurricane tips.
Yeah.
Of course, they're getting hurricane tips from everybody. But,
that's right.
It would be things like that were off subject to get them to keep scrolling. And we would have less bounces when we did it that way, or less unsubscribes when we did it that way.
Love that. Yeah. And that's what you got to do. Keep it to knowledgeable type stuff. We would do in the wintertime, you know what I mean? Like the caps. Don't forget to, winterize your hose bibs or whatever it is.
Yes.
Little things like that, because then it's not just about, they're advertising. They're,
right.
Then you can be like, no. And that's what we did too with new construction is I set myself up to be the expert. So we would go out there and just assess some of their stuff. Like if they put down sealer wrong, right? We would say, yeah, you got to strip it. And so they would just call me and we wouldn't even do the work. I'd be like, you got to call somebody else, but they would call me to come in and assess the thing. And then we would, get the jobs we could do. They're like, no, Pat's the expert. You need to call him.
Right.
Because of that.
Right.
So that was a great way to, have long-term commercial clients as well. All right. So Doug, to wrap it up, man, because that's a lot of gold right here. And we try to keep it 30 to 40 minutes. That way, if somebody's working out on their way to work or headed to the gym.
Well, that's good because you're about 30 minutes past my bedtime already. So
I hear that. Yeah. That's the way it's been.
No, we're good. We're good.
Cool. So with that being said, what's your favorite way to unwind and recharge? I know the viewers want to hear it, Doug.
My favorite way to unwind and recharge is probably either playing golf,
nice,
or fishing, or just doing something with my wife and daughter, going someplace, go to a movie or whatever. But I love to play golf. Not very good at it, but I love to play golf. I play at it. Love to freshwater fish. I don't like saltwater fishing unless it's with a guide.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Because I'm not going to go and enjoy myself fishing and come back and have to clean the boat and clean the rod and reels and clean all the flotation devices and all that kind of stuff. So
that becomes work.
Yes.
I hear you. Awesome,
what about you? What's your favorite way to unwind? Dude, I know what it is.
Yeah, you know what? I think everybody knows what it is. But yeah, I like to race.
I gotta tell this quick story. Pat Clark called me, I don't know, several years ago and said, hey, I want to start a school. I said, you do? And he said, yeah. And so it ended up, I went up there and did this. But I'll never forget, you said, yeah, I just want to be able to buy a four-wheeler or something.
Yep, I want to race. I want some play money. That's right.
Sometimes I see them race cars, I feel like texting you going, how's that four-wheeler doing?
Yep. That's it. Well, I got 4 kids, so I got like five four-wheelers now, but yeah. But that's it, man. And that's what we like to do, right? We go camping, we ride four-wheelers on the weekend, fishing. Right. Love doing that with the kids for sure. But that's unwinding. Racing every Thursday if I can. Go down there and just, pedal to the metal, man.
Right.
You don't think about anything.
That's right.
So cool. Well, good stuff, Doug. I guess what we'll do is we're going to have you on again.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We'll do like a part 2 with the store and talk about that. And maybe we can do like an educational thing on, equipment, training, that kind of stuff. I think would be cool.
Okay.
Good deal. Awesome. Well, Doug, thanks for being on the show, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, Pat, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be with you, man. I've loved watching your journey. We love watching each other's journeys. You know,
That's exactly right.
there's a core group of us that stay in touch, and it's just cool to watch everybody, how life changes and just keeps getting better, and ups and downs and peaks and valleys and whatever. But yeah, it's an honor and privilege to be with you, man. I really appreciate you asking me.
Likewise, Doug. Likewise. And yeah, look forward, man. We're gonna have to play golf if you're over here in Greenville. We'll have to go suck at golf somewhere around here.
On a par 3 course and take 2 clubs.
There you go. I love it. Sounds good. All right, everybody. Thank you again for another Community with Closers. We're here every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Pat.